Chocolate bunnies will be harmed on this show live, ladies and gentlemen. I send a warning out. This is a adults only show. Rock Professor.
Good morning. Bunnies will be harmed in the making of this program, but only chocolate ones. Don't panic,
Yes.
kids.
Happy Easter. Good to see you, brother.
Yes, happy Easter. How's it going? Of course, you've had your Easter. I, on the other hand, have not yet, as it's only 7:45. Nobody in my house is up hunting for Easter eggs, I can tell you. Oh, dear.
My gosh, it's good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully Brad might come on. If Brad's not on, the Rock Professor and I will keep you informed and entertained for a little while. Brad had to travel interstate with his 80s tribute band, Rewind 80s. So he's been out of state. So there was no particular pressure, Simon, for him to come out and hang out with you and I.
Except if he doesn't.
So there are the ears.
There it is.
There's the ears.
There it is. The ears. Oh, the ears are going to bite the dust first. Look at that. Boom. At what point in the day is it all right to eat a chocolate? Not at 7:45, isn't it?
If you've got a sweet tooth like me, any freaking time of the day.
All right. Andrew the Sugar Man Walton. Yes. Because you've now eaten a lot of chocolate. You now can't say anything.
Oh.
Look at that. Just swill it down with just a small amount of sugar or Coke.
Excuse me.
Is that better?
This is no sugar. Coke, no sugar, Simon.
No sugar. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an unscripted show. We have a bit of an idea of what we're talking about. The Rock Professor is going to talk about something. We don't often come on here and ad-lib, do we, Simon?
And let me tell you, we're not coming on ad-libbing now either.
Good to see everybody. The Rock Professor is going to be doing a shout out. We've got 9 people watching. We'll wait till we get to 10 before we do a shout out. Some news. Oh, what's going on?
This is me improvising. Okay, these are my notes for today's show.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
The Rock Professor will keep you guys entertained, I'm sure. News this week. Well, I suppose if you've been following me on social media, on Instagram or on Facebook or here, I've been putting posts up. Simon, it's the news that the video, the film footage of some of the nights from 24 nights that came out in 1991 are going to be released. And it looks like we might get some remastering from that gig as well, Simon.
Yeah, which would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? As a thing, and hopefully cheaper than than that thing from eBay I sent you, the limited edition 24 nights, only yours for a mere, what was it, 900 and something, £940.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they've done, well, I should say, fortunately, that they do things like that. They did that with the Albatross book, didn't they? With the Peter Green book. Rufus Publications came out with this high-end collector's limited edition run that people certainly buy. And then a couple of years later, Simon, we get trade copies for $100. A little bit affordable for guys like us, Simon.
Indeed, yeah. But I thought you'd enjoy attempting to buy something £900.
It's a lot of money, brother.
Interestingly, it's like the Kirk Hammett Greeny copy guitars, isn't it? You start off with, what are they, $50,000, the first ones? Now they've just made what's the new one? 15? Is it $20,000? $20,000. Yes. And you know that in another year's time there'll be a $10,000 one.
Well, I've got to do a shout out to you and I and Brad, because we called that. I linked the video on that show that we did, ladies and gentlemen, on a couple of Facebook posts. On the Guitar World Facebook post about it anyway, where we called it, we said that this would be a limited run, clearly, and they'll come out with at least 3 or 4 iterations of that guitar. And we've got 2. We've got 2 already, Simon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and there'll be there'll be a Murphy Lab special $10,000 one next, won't there? Kind of thing. Whatever. Do you think they'll do a $3,000 one?
Guaranteed, because that's where the real money will be.
Well,
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Very smart of Gibson to do this. You get a lot of guys, average guys like us. Let me give an example. An average standard traditional Les Paul in this country, Simon's, $4.5 grand. And you know, if they came out with an affordable Greeny around that price, they'll be selling truckloads. Hey, here he is! Look what the Easter Bunny's dragged in. Here he is.
Here he is. Oh, nice ears.
I just ate your ears, bro.
Look at that. He's got it. Look at that. That's quite a psychotic Easter bunny, if I may make so bold, Mr. Cook. Look at you.
Hello,
how you doing?
I'm good. The daylight savings is certainly thrown out on my time schedules and everything, gentlemen, so I apologise.
No, you got nothing to apologise about.
But,
We've taken the register, mark you absent.
Yes. I thought I'd get in the spirit of Easter, have some chocolate eggs and wear my Easter. These are my son's ears, but he's not here, so I thought I'll wear them for him.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Good on you. Good to see you. Good to see you. The Rock Professor and I were just ad-libbing. That's a nice word of saying talking shit.
Oh, look at that. He's sworn already, Brad. It's gone.
It's all right. It's okay. We'll excuse you.
Waiting for you.
I heard what you were talking about. I was lurking and I could hear what you're talking about, the 24 nights across 24 nights, and the Murphy Lab and the Greenie,
Yeah.
the second release of
Greenie.
Greenie, or third, or whatever it is. Yeah.
So got some thoughts
Second
you
one.
want to share with us?
Well, I mean, obviously, the Greenie, the second release of the Greenie one, obviously that'll be a little bit more affordable, I'm assuming. And then, like you said, Andrew, they will do a cheaper alternative version as well. So that's pretty much where my thoughts were on that originally as well. I think we discussed that before. And
Yeah.
on the 24 nights thing, across 24 nights, look, I'm ecstatic about that because I'm more excited about that release than other things that are coming out now. There's other things that are coming out, other concert footage, this and that, but the 24 nights thing is probably, as we've discussed previously, where my sort of fascination with Clapton started, even though I liked Clapton before 24 nights, but just that whole thing of 24 nights, that whole performance, the MTV footage I've seen, I can't wait to see what they've done with all this footage, and hopefully a lot of it's unreleased.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you see? I sent this to Andrew. I didn't. But on sale in the UK is an Eric Clapton 24 Nights limited edition numbered UK book, Grad. It's only £940 if you're, if you're interested. So,
yeah, unfortunately, that's the unfair thing about it when they do these type of box sets and everything. That some of them get quite expensive, and I understand the artists need to make money, and it's a very hard industry these days to make money.
Peter Blake stuff is very very collectible and very he's a fantastic artist, Peter Blake. So.
Yeah, but no, looking forward to the across 24 nights and seeing what this is all about. But,
I'll tell you one before we move on.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm good. I found something. I found a picture of something. Look at this. This is the record shop that I used to work in 1979. That's a bag from it. Look at that.
Wow.
Pretty cool, huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. I found a picture of it. Somebody posted a picture of it. I thought, yeah, awesome. Tony did that when I worked for him, so that's from fantastic. little piece of history. I got some look, I'll just say this. Sorry, as we're on this. So look, this is a picture. The bloke on where is he on this side? That guy there with a guitar. That's Tony, my ex-boss. But look at that for a 1960s group. Look at all that kit they haven't got.
That's amazing.
Lovely, isn't it? I know.
Thank you, Blues for Life. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blues for Life.
Great, isn't it?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a lovely photograph, isn't it, of a band from the city with so much gear, or none at all, compared to what you take out these days.
So,
Blues for Life. Thank you so much.
Anyone comment on my ears? I'm just having a look back. Oh, yes, there's a few comments there.
No. Nobody's noticed.
No.
Do you want to do a shout out, Rock Professor? Blues for Life, thank you for joining us live. I think I know who you are, but always appreciate your comments after we go live. I think that might be Carl.
$8.99 for the chocolate fund. Excellent. So we should say good morning to Derek Clapton, who's popped in just to say hi, and he'll catch the replay as he always does. So good morning, Derek.
And he does.
Nice for you to drop by. And he does. Oh, absolutely. And leave comments and stuff. It's fantastic, Derek. So we are very appreciative. Tim Thomas, morning, Tim. Holly Lewis, morning, Holly. Got the mug of doom out with me coffee in it this morning. Yes. Tim and Holly and Gretch Zeppelin. Good morning, Gretch Zeppelin. And nice to see you. We got Keith Campbell. Morning, Keith. Still up. It's John's D351, who's He's at his ex-in-laws. So happy Easter, John. Hope you're having fun. Blues for Life as well. Good morning, Blues for Life. And thank you so much for the donation to Andrew's chocolate fund. As he does with all donations, he's splitting it 3 ways and sending Brad and I $1 each. He's shaking his head.
Warren.
And Warren. Good morning, Warren. We hope you're all right, mate. Good to see you. Yeah.
Good. Great to see you.
Hopefully I got everybody and didn't miss anybody. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. It's good to see you all. And happy Easter from me. That's cool. So we've got any other shout out? I've got one shout out to do, which is to Robert Schaffner, our friend, who did that fantastic Fleetwood Mac book with Jeff Lowenthal. He's recovering from having several brain hemorrhages, I think. So he's at home. He's recovering well. So keep going, Bob. He's on the rehab trail. So we hope you're all right and getting better. Yeah.
All the best.
And there's a book signing coming up in May. I'll attach the information to that book signing if you're watching on a replay. You want to grab a copy of this and get it signed by Jeff, and most probably, cross fingers, hopefully Bob too.
Bob as well, yeah. Dragging himself there. So yeah, get well soon, Bob. We hope it's going all right, and you're on the mend. That's cool. Lovely. Okay. Yes. So that was the shout outs for today. So how was your gig, Brad? Good. Sorry, I should pay more. I'm sorry. That's me.
That's all right.
I'll catch you with a mouthful of chocolate.
Yeah, no, the gig was good. I'm fighting a bit of this loogie that's going around here in Melbourne at the moment. A bit of a cold.
Don't say that. They'll put you in lockdown.
No, don't. Oh no! Don't laugh about it.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Mr. Wilson.
We were discussing it the other day, saying, "Jesus, mate, go hide so you don't get locked down for 2 weeks." You know? Anyway, no, the gig was okay. We went to a country, not a country, a town outside of Brisbane called Gladstone. That's Brisbane in Queensland. So we had to fly to Brisbane and then fly from Brisbane to Gladstone. So, all around about 5 hours of flying, all up.
Blimey.
So each way. But yeah, it was a fun experience right next to like this ocean inlet sort of thing, which is really pretty. And, we just rocked out to playing some 80s stuff as we do. So it was fun.
Yeah, cool.
Fun. Always good and whatnot to go and play. I'm always grateful to get out and play. It's an awesome feeling. I remind myself every time I get up there how grateful, I should be to be able to step on stage and perform again. It's just a great feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a privilege. It's a blessing.
So did you? I take it you didn't take the marshals then?
No, I took my trusty Helix little board with me and used that, which got me through the gig nicely. Thank you very much. The sound guy loved my overall sound, so that's always a blessing, because if the sound guy likes you, they always work for you. That's just a good thing.
Yeah. Never a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I how about you gentlemen? What have you guys been up to? Did we do a shout out to Houses of the Holy's 50th? We did, didn't we?
Oh,
did we?
No, we didn't actually. No, we didn't.
Years.
Carry
Houses of the Holy. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up. That it's something that came to my attention the other night. I went to see the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin experience, and I have to
you?
say it's remarkably good. And he brought that up. You know, they played "Song Remains the Same" and the Rain song back to back, and he
Yes,
gets
I
on
know.
a mic and has a bit of a chat about it, and he spoke about the Houses of the Holy being 50 years old, and I thought, geez, I'm not sure whether we mentioned that on our channel. So
No, 28th of March, 1973.
happy 50th to one of my
Mm.
favourite albums.
And what I'll do, ladies and gentlemen, Brad sent me some videos, and I've got the videos already uploaded on the channel. I just needed to clarify some information. So after the show, I will go and have another Easter egg, and then I will re-edit those details, and those videos that Brad took will be up on the channel for you guys to enjoy. Thank you, bro, for sending them. Looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, Andrew, I noticed he's got some gigs in New Zealand, mate.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, in
get
Auckland.
yourself along, or?
Yeah. So I'm talking to Blues for Life about it now.
Right.
All right.
Well-
You're going to go. Fantastic.
Yeah. We went and saw. You guys might remember. I think last year we went and saw a Led Zeppelin tribute band
Yeah.
in our town here, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's definitely on the plans. And from your video footage, it looked like a shit show. Hell of a what's the word? Not a shit show. A holy shit show.
Yeah, it was a. I mean, I saw the last time Jason Bonham brought it to Australia was pre-pandemic, and I saw that, and that was that was amazing. But he did a different show this time round, which was good. But I kind of wished, you know, this time round he didn't do a jam with his father and all that stuff, which he did previous time. So, but I have to say, if you're going to go and watch, or if you're dying to listen to some Led Zeppelin music live, you have to go and see this.
Cool.
That's all I have to say. You have
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
and see this because the band are, well, I mean, he's Jason Bonham, okay? So he's the son of John Bonham. And let's be honest, he can handpick any musician he wants to do that job, can't
Correct.
he? Really. So
Yeah,
he's
that's
picked
true.
a remarkable band. The guitarist, Jimmy, the guy from Japan, he's amazing. The whole band's amazing. The singer's fantastic. I think you'll really enjoy it, Andrew, if you can get along. I wouldn't encourage you to go if I didn't think it was good. So,
And we've discussed, Jason, haven't we? We've done a show. We've done Celebration Day on this channel where we've deep dived his contribution to the Led Zeppelin enterprise. And, you know, that's high recommendation, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever want to go and see a Led Zeppelin tribute band with Jason Bonham, if Brad's telling you that it's worth seeing, that's something.
well, I only went last minute, by the way. I wasn't going to go because timing, I didn't think I'd actually make it. So last minute, I got my girlfriend to come along with me. I thought, let's just go. We'll go listen to some Led Zeppelin music live. Let's just go enjoy some live music. And I encourage everyone to get out there and see live bands as well. But, you know, it just felt like I needed to hear some live music.
Sure.
And I really wanted to hear Led Zeppelin. And I love listening to bands play Led Zeppelin, as long as they play it well. You know, a lot of bands can, it's a hard one. They'll play it really well or they'll just destroy it. But I mean, I've seen Jason Bonham before and it was amazing. And this time around was no exception. And it's wonderful how he chats between the songs and talks about little things and little stories. And he's a funny guy. And, you know, God bless him for continuing the name, you know, Led Zeppelin, sort of keeping the flame alive for people like us. I think it's an amazing thing because he could not do it. He could be out doing other bands and not worry about doing it. But he obviously enjoys it. And, you know, I guess it's his God-given right, isn't it? He can go and perform the music as much as he likes because it was his dad's.
Yeah,
You know?
but it's got to be good though, isn't it? You know, it's that extra pressure to be for it to be good. You know.
Look, from all accounts, whatever happened over the years and in the 90s when Page and Plant did their thing, and I know Jason was pretty outspokenly not happy about it, and rightfully so in some aspects, I guess. But each one's got their own way of doing things, and I guess Page and Plant want to just do their own thing for a little bit, and we respect that as well. And at least he got to do Celebration Day, that one we know so well, and we've done a show, or we've done 2 shows on it, Celebration Day, and that was, from my opinion, that was a great closure for Jason Bonham, I think, in the whole Zeppelin saga, because he was deprived of that opportunity for 30 years, and he finally got to do it. I can understand, the reasons behind why Robert Plant might not want to do it anymore, and why it took so long, whatever. Whatever. But I'm glad that they got it done before it got too late. I think that's. But it's wonderful that Jason is out there performing and doing the music again, and that's his only wish for people when he's doing these shows and he talks between the songs and stuff like that. He's just saying, we just want you to enjoy the music. Just let yourself go. And if it makes you forget about everything that's going on in your life for 2 hours, well, God bless. Let's do it. So,
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, I've no, if you're part of that legacy, I've no objection to you owning it and going out and, playing it. But we can't see the real thing, so
no.
so you've got to do the next best thing, haven't you, if you want to go and see it? So are they playing, what are they playing? So theatre shows like you play, Brad? Or
big theatre show. Palais Theatre here in Melbourne is a beautiful theatre. It's a really old one in St Kilda, and so we managed to get our backsides on some really bad seats right in the back of the room, but it didn't matter to me because I just got to sit back, relax, and listen to the music, and it was just beautiful. It's a wonderful experience, Andrew. If you go along, I really recommend you just go in there with an open mind and enjoy it, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think you've said some great things about it. If it's okay for tribute bands out there around the world to get together and be playing Led Zeppelin music at pubs, in front of 50 people, it's okay for someone from the band, Simon, to take that mantle and go and do something with it. And make some money, and as Keith Campbell in the chat saying, fly the flag for other generations. It's no one's going to be critical about that, and if anyone is, well, I feel sorry for you.
Well, it doesn't matter really, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, you're right, Brad. It looks lovely, isn't it? I'm just looking at a picture of it now. So it's a proper Victorian theatre. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, it was a beautiful setting. And I saw him there last time, so he obviously likes the theatre. And I tried to take some photos, but the photos weren't real great because of the lighting. I just couldn't seem to get a good photo. But I'll try and find one, and then I'll just throw it up on the screen here. But the way they performed was fantastic. I think you really have to give it to Jason. He's doing a marvelous job. So I'll throw that up.
Yeah, holds nearly 3,000 people. So
it was chock-a-block full.
Yeah. Oh, there we are. Yeah,
3,000 people. It was sold out.
Catch you later, Holly.
Yeah. Good night, Holly. Sleep well.
Holly, thanks for
late in Tulsa.
Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, Brad was kind enough to share some video footage with me, and we're going to upload that on the channel. Thank you, bro. Once this show's over, I will go back and re-edit those, and people can go and watch and be enthralled and amazed like Brad was. Hey, someone's late to the party.
Morning, Alan.
Oh.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Mum.
Happy Easter. Happy Easter, Ellen.
Sure.
Good to see you. Thank you for the amazing, wonderful support you give our channel. It's fantastic.
It is.
Mm.
That's true. Ever present.
Have you seen? Look what your son's growing over the weekend.
He's grown ears. Very nice.
Yeah, I got my son's Easter bunny ears on. I haven't got him here, so it makes me feel closer to him when he's not around. So put
Good
him
on you. Good on. And you're eating his Easter bunny too.
Eating it live on YouTube, and that's a secret.
Yeah.
No, I've got tomorrow. I've got a bunch of eggs for him. He knows his sport.
Do you want to do, while we're on the topic of Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page, do you want to do a bit of a shout out for the show next week?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Actually,
I don't know if anyone's seen the show that Andrew's put up for next week, but I chose Outrider, Jimmy Page's Outrider album, and I picked it for a number of reasons. And one of them is we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit disappointed in us that we haven't done it yet. So so I thought I'd better pick it. Okay.
Because we've got so few albums to do. I'm surprised.
I mean, we do a Zoso show and we haven't done his only solo record, so come on guys, let's do it. No, I'm joking. No, it's been on the to-do list for me for a little bit, and we always sort of pick other albums, and it goes on the next list, the next list, the next. But I was listening to it in the car the other day, and just randomly I thought I need to listen to something I haven't listened to for ages. Yeah. And I put it on. Man, I cranked it as loud as I could. I was just listening to that opening track. Keep on wasting my time. That riff. I'm not going to give too much away, but I think I've already done my rankings for that track, that album.
Well done.
I've already done it.
That was a major album when that came out. It was that had a lot of significance for my social group of friends, Brad and Simon, for obvious reasons.
It was same for me. Me and my friend Luke Foley, who introduced me to the album because I didn't know it existed, and he introduced me to it, and I listened to it, and I realized there was a song on there with Robert Plant. And at the same time, I discovered Now and Zen by Robert Plant as well. And I thought, these guys are collaborating. They're going to do Led Zeppelin again. That's what I had in my head, that they're going to do it again. And but it's a kick-ass album. And it just goes to show, Page had such nuts and bolts and meat and potatoes riffs all the time. He seemed to write amazing music, and even the instrumentals on there are just beautiful. So, I'm looking forward to ranking that one, guys.
When you mentioned that to me, I just immediately had this nostalgic memory of listening to that album, OU812, which came around at the same time. Guns N' Roses, we were listening to Guns N' Roses, and Def Leppard's Hysteria. Yep. We were on repeat, those 3 or 4 albums, because they all came out around, 87, 88, around that period?
Yep. Yeah. I think it was 88. Outrider came out. So, yeah. I remember my friend Luke Foley goes, "Have you heard this album that's just come out?" I was like, "No." "What do you mean?" He goes, "Jimmy Page just put a solo album out." I was like, "What?" So he had it on CD, and we went and put it on, and I was just blown away. Those first 2 tracks, I was just like, "Man, what's what's been going on? What's taken him so long to do this? I thought it was the best thing he'd done. You know, I thought it was fantastic. It does sound, you know, like an '88 sort of record. It's got that sound to it, but in saying that, you can imagine what some of those riffs and songs would have sounded like if it was Led Zeppelin. You can only imagine, you know. But it's a phenomenal album, and there's some great, you know, as much as you know, there's a couple of instrumentals on there, and there's a couple of different singers on there, but it's like each different singer, the vibe of the song has that stamp on it. I can't explain it. So Robert Plant sings a song, and it's got if anything, it sounds like a Robert Plant sort of solo song more than a Led Zeppelin song. It's got that stamp on it, you know, with the blues singers. We'll get into it when we rank it anyway, but
I never had a problem with that. Never had a problem with different vocalists on albums. You know, Santana had been doing it for years. You know, well, did it a couple of times and did it right through the 2000s, didn't he? On 3 or 4 albums, with, you know. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Neither do I.
Yeah, Keith's right. 87, 88. Yeah.
And it's a great album, so I'm looking forward to hearing you guys, your rankings with that. And I thought it'd be a great one for the Zoso show to do.
Fantastic, brother. Looking forward to it. You'll kick that off.
Yep.
So we'll go nuts advertising that on our social media links, and we'll ask you if you're keen and if you want to help our channel. If you want to share that link, would be grateful.
Yeah.
Be great.
Yeah.
Rock Professor.
So, yes, my.
So we want you to tell us about. Hold on, where is it? Where is he?
Can you?
Where am I?
Oh no, not that. We know what that is. No.
Not that. Yes.
Not that. Sorry.
Oh, honestly.
I'll drop us out. I'll drop us out for a second so that people can see. I thought I had it as an overlay, but I put it up as a backdrop. So hold on, guys. Don't go anywhere. Three handsome fellows.
That's a clickbait, Andrew. That one. Yes.
And I'm not talking about the three handsome fellows on the screen now. I'm talking about the previous three handsome fellows.
Well, these three do all right, but the other three were way better.
Yes, it was amazing. That's probably, I don't know, as you realise, that's me with Dan and Mick from That Pedal Show, and they do experience days. So you can they take 6 people on an experience day. So it's not hundreds of people. It's not it's not a coach load. 6 people and them, and Mick's wife Catherine, who does all the T-shirts and runs all the business stuff. I think she's the power behind the creative throne of those two. But it was so I travelled to the small Somerset town of Frome, which is only about 45 minutes from where I live, and out in the sort of in the country really is one of those. In the UK, we have a lot of farms that have diversified into various things. One of which is kind of industrial unit type places or office units, where small businesses can have units and they can run their businesses from. I mean, especially these days, you don't need to be in town. You don't need to have, you can run it from anywhere because it's such an internet-driven business. Clearly, they run their own shop and things and do all the merchandising themselves, which is interesting. They don't outsource it to anybody else. They do the t-shirts, and Catherine runs it all. Mixed wife, she runs it all and does all of that. And they've got a room. It's basically lots of rooms in a sort of 3-sided corridor, courtyard, and they've got quite a lot of it. they had one bit on the end that I think it had a hairdresser's in it, and then they left, and they thought, we can't have somebody moving in there because that's next door to the studio, so we better rent it quick because we're making a lot of noise. If these people are trying to run a business next door, it's not going to work. So they've got they've got about 5-6 rooms, kind of, in this kind of 3 sides of a square thing, which it's they've certainly done it properly. It's not, they have a proper kind of meeting, eating kind of area where Dan's got a whole kind of bar where they've got loads of pedals up and stuff like that. And so so everybody turns up. I took one guitar. I took my Strat. That's it, because they've got loads of guitars. And I took some advice from a friend of mine called Hayden Mowbray, who'd been on one earlier. I sent him a message saying, I'm going on this week. Any tips for me? Yeah. Don't take any amps. Don't take. I said I thought I'd take one guitar. That's probably a good idea, but you don't really need to take any guitars if you don't want to. But I thought I'd take the guitar that I know best. I have my 35-year-old Strat, which was which was great. I mean, which was the right thing to do. I took nothing else. I mean, some of the other people turned up with Marshall heads and all sorts. At one point there was they had 3 Gibson 339s in the room, and they're having a shootout between the 3 of them, see which one was the best, kind of thing. And so some people turned up with a lot more gear than I did. I figured that if you're going to a thing that's got where you can see on the screen how much gear they've got, what is the point of me turning up? I haven't got anything to add to that. It's not so. And I just figured that it would be a good idea to really go and experience their stuff, and I could experience my own anytime. I don't need to take it with me. So we turned about 9:30 kind of thing, 9:45, and I have to say, we were there at 6 o'clock. I left about 6 o'clock, so I got a full day out of it, which was really cool. And I didn't, I think it was about 275 quid, so it wasn't cheap, but it was well worth it. Like a lot of those things, it's well worth it, as an experience thing, and because you're running, they got to run a business off the back of it and pay the rent on this stuff, pay themselves a bit and things, and clearly that's important to them. So it was, it was really, it was fantastically worth the money as a thing, as the first thing I'd say.
You don't mind paying for an experience like that, though,
no, not at all. No, not at all. Because you're paying for all the kit they've bought. Two rocks are not cheap, are they? And 1961 Strats or 61 Strats mixer 60. Anyway, they're not cheap either. So you've got all this stuff where it's not cheap, and so that's inevitably what you're part of what you're paying for. It's a bit like I went to Heston Blumenthal's restaurant, the Fat Duck. I took my daughter for her 18th birthday, the Fat Duck. It was £255 per person.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, yeah. Just the bill for the food, Mr. Walton, was a little over £1,000.
Oh,
jeez.
And then there was drinks on top. Not that many because we were driving, but I took 4 of us. Took me, Kat, my eldest, Carenza, and my mum. Hooray! Yeah, it was but worth every penny, I would say.
And that's what I was going to say. That experience, you got to take your mum there and all that stuff. So, you don't deprive that sort of money.
No, and you could see, there's a load of presentation at the tables and all sorts of stuff. It's your mum says, when are you taking us? Whenever you're here, Helen. It's fine. But you've got to book in advance as well. But so this is I put this in a similar kind of thing. It sounds like quite a lot of money, but what you're paying for is clearly if you like, on the screen, not on the screen, but as I say, you can't play a 2-rock, and somebody's had to spend a lot of money buying that 2-rock, and at some point, it's in the business, and you're paying for that as well. So it's hard. So I'll just run through briefly the sort of format of the day, so you get an idea about what we did.
Yeah.
So they kind of turned up, coffee and coffee and buns and things, and beautiful. They've got drinks. I just laid off, brilliant. So they talked a bit about the background to TPS, how Dan and Mick had started it, how they'd started in the corner of Dan's gig rig business. He's got the gig rig 3. I presume everyone's knows what that is. The mega switcher. It's an extraordinary piece of kit. A funny story about that in a minute, but it's an amazing piece of kit if you're a pro, semi-pro musician and stuff like that. It's beyond my thinking. It's like slightly beyond Mick's as well, I think, as well, which is quite amusing. But it is a fantastic, extraordinary piece of kit, and they spent a lot of time organising it. But so Dan works in Swindon, so I think he's got this unit, where they build them all and run the business from. So him and Mick, they kind of met when Mick was the editor of a magazine. And that he got Dan to do some reviews and stuff. But and then Dan started a gig rig, and then he was talking to Mick about marketing. But whenever they met up, they never talked about marketing. They just talked about pedals and things they liked. So they thought, why don't we just do it? Why don't we just do some videos on it and stuff as a which is how they started. And they built a little kind of studio in the corner of Dan's unit. But of course, they had to film them at night, because if you're making a bit of noise, somebody's running a business next door, it can be a bit tricky. But so they used to do them in the evenings, and that's kind of how the short version of how it started. And then clearly it took off, and the YouTube bit took off, and they had to find somewhere else to run it from. And this is where these units on this farm. Units is it's better than that. It's proper rooms, properly laid out, and they put some thought into it, and some there's some office space, and and they have the studio that you will see on the TV on the YouTube when they're doing it, which is a great space, I have to say. It's a really good space to make some noise and to do all those things. They've done it really well. So they talked a bit about that to start with, and then we had a kind of tour of the TPS studios, and rooms and everything, just talking about what they do and those sorts of things, which was fantastic. And then what they always do to start with, I think this is quite interesting, is that they set up a deluxe reverb, a Fender deluxe reverb, and they play through it basically, and they show you where the kind of sweet spot is and things, around 5 kind of thing. So you get, but that as being their kind of baseline amp for everything else they do. Just straight in, and show you what the noise is at that kind of volume, because clearly we're not all I don't have one, but we're not all cranking our deluxe reverbs up to 5 or 6 at home. Kind of the neighbours might not be very impressed by that as a thing. So they do that, and then they gave us a demonstration of their wet dry wet rigs. So both of them. Dad had a matchless and 2 Lazy J amps as well. So with his gig rig stuff, he can split his thing out of thing. And Mick's got a 2-rock and a Mesa Boogie head, which goes to 2 different speakers. So one of them was wet and one of them was dry. So they gave us a demonstration of that, and then what's on their pedal board and things. Actually, I realised that I don't know if you saw this, but that picture that I posted actually had at the time a secret thing on Mick's pedal board that I'd forgotten about. No one will have noticed, but they've just they have a relationship with Jam Pedals, Greek company Jam Pedals, and they released a harmonic tremolo.
Yeah.
Well, they had a version 2. They've just released a version 2 last Friday. The Friday just gone, Thursday,
Okay.
because I put it out a week early, and I realised that it's actually on that board. You'd have to zoom in. You'd have to know what you were looking for to spot it.
I didn't notice it. So, that
I don't think
unless
anyone
you're
did.
probably looking for it, I don't think anyone would have noticed it, Simon.
I forgot to crop it out anyway. It's fine. No one will have noticed. But so they've just done that. So Mick had that on his board as well. So then basically we had a go on all these two rigs. So we had a chance to play through the mattress and the Lazy J and Dan's rig, and the two rock and the Mesro, in that wet thing. I mean, I've done some stereo stuff. I could do wet dry on my Orange and stuff. So I got an idea about what it sounds like stuff, and it's but when you're playing it at volume, it does sound pretty epic, I have to say. And you get, the good thing is, because there's only 6 people, you get a chance to have a go, and in the afternoon we kind of split into 2 groups, so you had a chance to have more of a go. But having a chance to play both those rigs and press some of the pedals, and they've got that Chase Bliss audio pedal, with the ones with the sliders that go up and down automatically when you choose a different patch.
Yep.
They both got those and stuff. So you had a bit of a chance to have a go at one of those and things, and just get a feel about what these things sound like with pedals and stuff. And that was great. Then we had lunch, and then, as I say, we split into 2. Dan did some stuff about people who bought their pedal boards and stuff, so they had, and we did that later. But we went back into the studio and we started plugging guitars into amps, So we started playing. So you've got a chance to have a go with the 2 rock, Strat into the 2 rock and things like that, just to get a feeling about what these things sound like on their own. When I go to this, I'm really keen on finding out what the basics are first. So let's plug it directly in. Let's get a sound, get a sound, and then you can add the icing on the cake, which is the pedals and things. And of course, they have amazing pedals. They have amazing, loads of stuff and amazing reverbs and delays and choruses and also, and you can make epic sounds with all this stuff. Yeah. But I quite like get back to the bed, because it's like if you plug straight into a Marshall, you know what it sounds like, Brad. Yeah, you got that. I'm the same. So I want to have some comparison to what does my what's the difference or whatever similarities to my PV and that, because I can know the PV stuff at the back of my hand. That's my baseline. So it was really interesting to do that, and we had to go with that, and we had to go with the then we set up the Marshall with his with Mick's Murphy aged Les Paul, and then you just crank that up, man, and I'm getting my Jimmy Page on. I'm there cranking out custard pie.
That's what you got to do.
Oh,
that's one of my sound checks, Simon. That's one of my sound checks.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyone goes to me, all right, guitars, let's check you. I start custard pie. It's pretty much my standard.
Well, you understand exactly how this works. It was absolutely. And of course, I mean, you get a chance to play the Murphy Age Les Paul, which is really interesting. These days, I think I've not really played a Les Paul for a long time, and I think that when I played them in the 90s, they had that terrible kind of muddy sound that I really didn't like. Right, I wasn't keen on that kind of. I don't know where they got that idea from, but clearly this is not like that at all. The pickups are a completely different kettle of fish, much clearer, much more clarity, much more definition in them. So it was amazing. We had to go, of course, on Mick's 62 Strat, into the 2 rock, which was great. I'm a great one. I've managed to do a couple of times, but that thing about play a proper vintage instrument and then play your own, through the same, to see what the differences are. And clearly there are differences, but I did it with a 66 Strat, 65, 66 on the guitar breaks thing. Now I've done it with a 62, and I'm still not disappointed by my own guitar.
No, that's when
Which
you
I
know
think
you've
is
done it
pretty
well.
cool.
That's when you
Well,
know you've
that's
done it
right.
well.
Yeah, and what I noticed about my guitar is both Mick and Dan had a go on it. Like, so they put it on. It doesn't look the same, and then they play it a bit and they go, "This is all right," you know. It's like it's like they they look at it and then they play it and they go, yeah, "This is a pretty cool guitar, isn't it?" It's not, Dan was like played it quite a long time, but and that realization, and I'm, because I play it a lot, I don't have that kind of that kind of view of it. So, but it's really nice to compare it against other countries and go, yeah, the 62's got a bit more, there's a little bit more on things, but do you know what? My guitar's fine and cost, it cost whatever it was, 475 quid, not, I don't know
A
how much it
bucket
was,
load less.
not 10 grand or whatever. I don't know, Mick didn't pay that for it, but
Yeah.
it's
That's good.
not 10 times the cost or whatever. It's just and I think that's one of the things about these things that you can really get into is is that kind of experience. And then, as I say, having that comparison with what you've got and what, these special images. So we had to go on a 335, with Mick's got a nice 335, blonde 335. That was
Yep.
really cool. And the SG that he's got, that he's borrowed from Gibson, that greeny one.
Yep.
It's a greeny blue. So we had to go on that as well. Was just they're all lovely guitars, really nice, because they're set up properly, play properly, and if you're playing them into a 2-rock or a Marshall, you'll be surprised to learn that they sound pretty damn fine. Morning, Nelson. How you doing? Greg Roberts Tune. Morning, team. Hope we're good. And so that was fantastic. And basically, because there's only 3 of you, you get a really good chance to have a go on stuff. It's not like a 30-second go.
Do you remember what 2-Rocks amp they were? Which model it was?
Oh, well, I can find out which one it is, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I played one once and I can't remember what it was. I think it might have actually been a John Mayer signature, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. This is not a John Mayer signature one, but
but this thing that I played was phenomenal. It was fantastic. A different tonality thing that it's just something big, clear tone. Is that how you describe it, Simon?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's it's got headroom to die for. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, it'll go really loud and really clean. Yeah.
Big,
absolutely.
clear tone, and obviously take pedals well and all that stuff. Yeah, that's
clearly, was it $5,000? $5,000 amp?
Yeah.
And that's the point of it. Really, is that we would just you go in the front of it, and it sounds fantastic, and it's got that really massive headroom thing that that Mick in particular likes as a as a starting point, and then you add in the stuff you want. It was a fantastic amp, and but they've got Marshalls, they got everything there, basically loads and loads of stuff that you can play to if you want. We had to go on Dan's tellies as well. His 52 custom shop telly, the blonde one, and red as well, which is very bright. We can wind the tone knob off on that to get that. But it's one of those guitars that it's been shaped by its owner. Dan's done some things to it, done quite a lot of things to it, and and I think that's it's important to understand. His guitar, he gets a thing out of it. It's wasn't it's it's special because it's to him, it's special, and that's that's one of the key things. But it was great to play it, and fantastic to play it, fantastic to play through it and stuff. At one point, we were having to go through Dan's rig and play, and we couldn't work out how to turn on the I think it was the delay, so we had to go and get Dan to go. Mick had to go and get Dan. Said, "How do you turn on the delay? We press all the buttons, nothing's happening." You press the button
Jesus.
and then it happened. But yeah, it's like beyond all of us and beyond Mick as well. That was quite funny to go and get him back out from the other room. And then we went off and talked about the other two had bought some pedal boards and stuff. They wanted some advice. I specifically wanted to try out various chorus pedals, which I did. So I tried a Boss C2, Wazacraft one, and we talked about the one outputs and the two outputs and how the two outputs worked with two amps and stuff.
Yeah.
Playing for a Vox and I think was we playing a Princeton, I think. So that was pretty cool. So I got a real chance to have a look at that various chorus pedals and stuff. That was really cool. Just straight in, just a chorus pedal. Again, you're saying here's the bass sound, and you're just adding one thing in, not adding a load of things in. So you get a really clear idea about what it sounds like. And how difficult it is to use or whatever. In my case, I don't need a degree in programming to work it. And then we were kind of clearly one of the best things about those days is the bits in between, the general chat. They're mixing with other people, talking about other people, about all our experiences and of various things and things like that, which is clearly one of the major things about you're in with a few other musicians. What do you talk about? Music, stuff, gear, what they've got. It was really good, and I always think that people, you forget those things. Those are as important as the formal stuff that you're doing. I think that kind of in between stuff. Getting around for lunch and things and just talking about stuff.
So, just a quick question, because I'm a Les Paul buff. What was how did you find the Murphy Lab aged Les Paul? Like, was it soft neck? Was it a big chunky neck on the guitar? What was it?
No, it wasn't a big chunky neck. Oh, it was all right, but I've got a guitar with a much chunkier neck than that. Yeah. So my guess is they get thinner, don't they, from 58, 59 to 60 kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I would have said, I think it's a 59 shape. So it's kind of in the middle.
Yep.
It felt really comfortable to me. Felt fine. As I say, I think I was concentrating more on, because I think I'm a bit, well, we get onto this actually. There's an interesting kind of thing that I took from the day as a general point, and we can discuss it a bit. But I've got guitars with all different necks. Necks doesn't really bother me as a thing. I just go, it's a guitar with a neck. Get on with it, Simon. You can't blame the neck for your ineptitude on a guitar. You've just got to, So it felt really comfortable. It felt really good. I was probably concentrating more on the pickups and things and how that sounded, because that's my memory of them things. But as I say, they were much more articulate, than I remember. I noticed my Ian, who's my other guitarist in the band. He's got a 90s Les Paul, but he changed the pickups out. He changed them for, he's got DiMarzios in it or something. But because those 90s ones had very muddy pickups and he didn't like them, But he wanted a Les Paul in the 90s, unlike me, who said, I'm not having that. Sounds terrible. I don't think I knew much about changing pickups and things. In the thing. But it was a lovely guitar. Whether it's worth, how much are they? 10 grand or something, or 8 grand? Whether it's, it's one of those things. The law of diminishing returns, about, in pricing of guitars. If you've got a $3 grand Les Paul and you've set it up yourself, you've got it all organized so it works. You've got, it'll be within a cigarette paper switch of that Murphy Lab one.
Right. Yeah.
It absolutely will. There's no doubt about it.
Look, I'm like you, Simon. I've gone and tried some very expensive Les Pauls, and I've put them up against my main Les Paul that I use on stage, which is a 1960 reissue or Les Paul Classic from 1999. So it's got a beautiful neck, and because I've played it since 1999 to now, so 23 years. It's played like it's got that feel to it that it's played, and when I've put it up against, these Murphy Lab, not a Murphy Lab one, but the Gibson custom
custom
shop jobs and stuff like that, I still, I want to play my guitar, not that one. It's just one of those things. I think there's something, but I'm not saying that they sounded bad. I A-B'd them, and my guitar was nowhere. It wasn't like there was a massive contrast in difference. If anything, to my ear, my guitar sounded better. But that's just to my ear, because maybe I'm used to it. But the
And I
neck on
think
my
that's
guitar, the neck on my Les Paul is exceptional. It's unbelievable. It's the only guitar I reckon I can get on and play Van Halen. I can play Led Zeppelin. I can play Jimi Hendrix. I can play anything on that guitar. It's that one neck.
Well, I did something similar to what you've said. This is my Les Paul here, and I just got the neck. I mentioned it on Fruitcake Tony's show, but I had my luthier shave the neck, Brad, to a 60s profile because it was a traditional.
Yes.
And when I bought it, I wanted the traditional, the 59 traditional feel. But after playing, like you were saying, other Les Pauls and having my Greco, which has the 60s taper, the slim taper, I had to have that 60s neck. Now, getting another guitar, absolutely not. It's not a consideration when you consider the pickups I've put on here, the tuner and everything like that. So the next best thing that I could think of, and I didn't have a problem doing it, and I left it unfinished as well. He asked too, did you want it finished? And I said no. So I've just oiled it. But I agree with you. I agree with you, mate. This here is my keeper. It feels good.
That guitar, Andrew, will probably, if you put that up against any Les Paul that you hold and play, that guitar will probably always outshine it because now it's your guitar, how you want it. So it's a catch-22. You want to go buy a custom shop job or whatever, and especially these aged ones. I'm sure they're beautiful guitars, but it's wonderful, Andrew, that you did that to your Les Paul because it's personalized it now to you. It's your Les Paul. It's
and it's interesting watching him how my luthier did it because I took a couple of hours off work and watched him. So he's using a spoke shave and little planers, all by hand, and using I was going to say verniers, using a what are those things that I should know? I sell them.
You can do it. Come on.
You press them up against something and they give you a shape. It's got a special.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying.
I know what you mean. It's a mold thing, kind of.
Yeah.
And you put it, and then you shave it so it fits that shape.
That's right. To get that accurate 60s. And so what I did, I went to one of the local shops here in town and had a feel of this compared, to the 60s neck that Gibson comes out with. And to my surprise, this is a little bit thinner, which is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And he was very careful, though. He was very careful because he said, you got to be careful because if you take too much, and he only took about half a cup of shavings, but he said you got to be very careful because Simon and Brad, if you take too much, you could hit the truck. Because apparently they're buried quite deep in the back of Gibsons. Didn't know that.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that stuff.
That's why you get a professional to do it. Don't attack it with a plane yourself, do you?
Hold up the front for me, Andrew. Hold up the front again. That's a beautiful top on that.
She's fading. She's fading nicely. Mr. Les is fading nicely, bro.
And that's the one with your Monty's pickups in it.
Yes.
Bethnal Greens. Yeah.
That's the other thing too, Andrew. The thing is, like, you've put new pickups in that, and you've changed them out as well, and you would have recognised immediately the tone difference. Yeah, that would have been something that was very clear to you.
This might sound like heresy. And I know there's a lot of people out there that rate burst buckers, but I got to tell you, the burst buckers just did not fit my ears, Brad. I've just nothing that I played through the guitar on any of my amps through my blues breaker or through my Fender sounded like anything that I wanted my guitar to sound like.
Yeah, I get it.
Interesting. Yeah.
If I was playing GNR stuff, rock, yes, with a bit of high gainy stuff, but the burst buckers didn't work for me.
No, I get it totally.
No.
I get it totally.
Yeah,
Totally understand that because my friend had a traditional as well with burst buckers.
Yep.
And I plugged it straight into my rig. And the neck was immediately something I picked up on was,
Yep.
well, if I had to play this for 3 hours a night, like 3 sets, like I did the other night, I'd be struggling to get through the last set because it
Chunky,
was
bro.
those chunky necks for me. They just don't. And I know we're all different. Some people love it, and I understand why they like them because you feel like you're holding something a bit solid, and there's no real proof that they resonate more or anything like that to my understanding. There's no real proof. It's just one person says, yeah, thicker necks resonate more, thinner necks don't. I don't know if there's any truth to that. I think it's really just the whole guitar in itself, from the headstock to the tail of the guitar, the resonance. You can tell if a guitar resonates well by acoustically.
Mate, this resonates more.
Yeah.
Because of the show, and it's like wow.
Yeah, and sometimes they say, Andrew, breaking headstocks or taking lacquer off guitars and that make them come to life. I've heard this before.
Yeah,
I've heard this before. So I don't know. I don't want to test that theory, but but apparently, but it's like if you go into a guitar shop. If I'm interested in a guitar, I'll just strum it acoustically before I even plug it in.
Yep.
And if it resonates and it's got tone, I pick it up and I give it a go. Then, if it doesn't, I don't want to know because I know some guitars sound deader. And one of my dear friends who passed away owned a beautiful Les Paul. His name is Danny. He owned a wine red Les Paul. It was a muddy sounding guitar, though. Very muddy sounding.
And, the 90s one, Brad?
Yes,
was it a 90s one?
Yes, 90s.
Yeah, see, you know exactly what I'm talking about, yeah.
And it was a very muddy sounding guitar, but it didn't resonate like when you played it acoustically like my guitar.
Yep.
And then, obviously, he went through some pickup changes and things like that, and it came good. So I understand that, little modifications you make to the guitar can make it come to life. So he actually put Seymour Duncan Alnico 2s in it, like Slash did, and it came to life. It actually had a lot more mid-range punch, which those Alnicos kind of a bit more mid-range, more sort of 70s rock vibe, like Aerosmith, and the Appetite for Destruction sound is that Alnico 2 sound. It's a bit more overdriven, but it still sounds vintage. It's got a bit of chunk to it, I call it, like it's something's going to crack in the side of the ribs with a 4x2. But it's amazing, and I love hearing people changing things out on their guitars, and that's the beautiful thing about being a guitar player and having gear. You can muck around with it, and these pedal shows they highlight that, I think, Simon. I think they're wonderful shows.
Absolutely.
I watch most of them. I don't watch every episode because I just don't have enough time to do it. But I watch ones that I'm interested in, and or someone might send me a link. Hey, you got to watch this, man. This is great. My mate sent me this link to an acoustic player, and on one of the pedal shows, and I was amazed. And I'm not the type of person that will sit and look acoustic stuff up because I just think an acoustic guitar, as long as it resonates and it feels nice to play, I'm happy. But give me an electric guitar, and I need something a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's a smart format, isn't it? Because it allows people to test out or have an idea, Simon, about something maybe that you're thinking about getting, and that you might, go and get something, because we're talking about boutique pedals here generally, so, it's going to give you that option. Plus, it's a smart little business move for these guys. It builds their presence. They're getting, you know, a following, and you know, it's a win-win. And you know, the Rock Professor gets to hang out and learn something. Can't argue with that.
I can't live with that.
Yeah, well,
No, I
that's,
agree. It's really interesting, that all that stuff. And,
I know we deviated a little bit because we're talking about gears, Simon, but you know, the whole fact that you went to that is an amazing experience. And I know Andrew's probably like myself. We're both a little green with envy, but in a good way, of course. But yeah, I would have loved to have been able to experience something like that. It's fantastic.
it was fantastic. The following on, Brandon, I think it's for the interesting bit is that what I learnt, and I think this applies. It applies in a lot of disciplines. If you're inside a discipline, yeah, or inside a subject, you know, and you're well versed in it and stuff, the differences between things are magnified. Yeah. So, you know, you can go, you know, you hear them talk a lot about, oh, there's a massive difference between this and that. Yeah. Now, you know, I'm interested in that because I've sort of ploughed my own path through this nonsense more than being in great communities and stuff until very recently. And I've always been much more of, you know, you know, the differences to me are much smaller, and that's the kind of thing I learned was that if you're inside it and you're talking that language, then massive, you know, what you call a massive difference in something is actually in real terms quite a small difference. Yeah. I'll give an example. It's from the car world and stuff, but there's a new Porsche Dakar that they've made. They've made like a Dakar, you know, a rally car, Dakar, right? And I watched a couple of reviews, and Johnny Smith on the late break show, they start talking about it's 30 millimeters higher than a Porsche, yeah, and you go 30 mil, that's about an inch, you know, isn't it? It's like I wouldn't notice that if I wouldn't notice that if you put two together, probably.
Yes.
And what's interesting is they're talking about 30 mil, which is only being a big difference, yeah. Now I'm from the outside going, well, it's only a bloody inch. How how much more different do you think it should be? You know, can be. If it was a foot, I'd think that was a big difference. You know, and I think that when you're talking about, you know, a lot of these things, you're playing different guitars. You know, I'm always surprised about how similar they sound. Actually, not how to. You know, I'm good with a single coil and a humbucker. But if you start asking me about the difference between a 335 and a Les Paul, or a, you know, I don't have the ears for that, which makes me a cloth-eared old fool. But I'm, you know, I am interested in that and about, you know, about the way that perception of being inside. You talk about things being, there's a big difference between the sound, you know, but actually, ask me if I could hear the difference really between that SG they borrowed from Gibson and the Murphy Lab. You know, they both got humbuckers in. As soon as you start putting some pedals on, I'm lost. You know,
I think you just nailed. You know, put the nail in you hit the nail on the head. What I was trying to say. Once you start putting pedals in the equation, the things change up a little bit, and it is a little bit different. It's a little bit harder to really pick out massive differences in guitar, unless there's a massive contrast. Let's say that if they're all in the ballpark, and then you start adding pedals in the equation, it really makes it hard to determine which is a better sounding guitar than the other. You know, you might say, oh, this one's still a bit more top endy. This one's a little bit. Of course, you can pick those differences out, but if the pickups and the guitar are very similar, and then you start throwing a few pedals in your chain, it makes it very hard to pick the difference. Like what's better, you know, I think it's much easier to determine a guitar, in my opinion, that's good is always straight into the amp. You go straight into the amp and you play
it's the way to do it.
You it with other guitars, and you'll hear the difference, massive difference. But then when you start throwing, you know, pedals in front, that's when you start really noticing that they're not that much different, really. I mean, let's just say you throw a Les Paul and a Strat together. Yes, you're going to pick a massive difference, of course.
Yeah,
But if you've got two Les Pauls with similar pickups or the same pickups, then you start throwing, a tube screamer, a delay, maybe a chorus, just to get a juicy tone. Then all of a sudden, you're really not hearing the difference in the guitars at all. You're going to hear.
No, interesting. And as you know, I've got that my Les Paul copy of the Chapman, which has got Seymour Duncan SH5 pickups in it, which are quite bright and quite articulate, which I really like. That's my, but what's interesting is I am hard pressed to tell if I plug that in and then I plug my telly in, there isn't much difference between them. There is not much difference between them, that I can hear, and that's plugging them directly into a clean amp, no pedal stuff. The differences start to be this, and I think what you've got to remember quite a lot, what I thought at the time was that what I think about it as a player, I'm concentrating on the feel of the guitar, actually, as soon as it gets past the monitors, it starts, people are going to be hard pressed to tell, they're better to tell if it's a Strat or a Les Paul, but these bits in between start to merge into one. As you say, as soon as you put pedals on it, you can start, people, with blindfolded people, they couldn't tell the difference between the two, or I couldn't tell the difference between the two. But I think it's really interesting that things you have to take into account, when you're listening to something, that, as you say, it's that clean into the amp, play a few chords, I get an idea about what that guitar or that amp sounds like. Start putting pedals in front of it, and then my cloth-eared old ears start to get don't really hear the difference, because what I'm hearing is the pedal and not the amp into the guitar. And I think it was a really valuable lesson to me to take away, that that is the key thing. Plugging it direct, then you get an idea about what it really sounds like. Then you can add the things in, the icing on the cake, to get the sound you want to play a particular thing. And I've got a pedal board that I'm sort of in the middle of, building up. And and there's always that thing about, I must get the new thing or whatever, And actually, it's about getting the sound out of the things you've got that you like. I bought those pedals because I could get a sound out of them that did the job I wanted them to do. So if I'm going to play, like you, Brad, I'm playing a covers band, so if I'm going to play "Won't Back Down" by Tom Petty, I can use my Marshall Blues Break or something like that, with a bit of gain on and stuff like that, not too. That's in a book. That's fine. That works. As a thing. And it's, for me, it's, I come at this, and I came at this, saying, well, I know what I play. I know the songs that I play. So therefore, one of the things I'm going to do, and I did it a bit, was play through little bits of some of the songs that we play in the band. So can I get a decent, like a sort of acousticy, chorusy sound to do David Gray's Babylon? Can I get like a fairly straightforward, not too broken, Mike Campbell type sound kind of thing? And that to me is the interesting bit about, getting pedals to work for you like that. Go on, Brad, you were going to say something. Go on.
No. My train of thought just got sidetracked listening intently to what you were saying then. So I'm heavily thinking about the chorus and this and that. So I totally understand what you're saying though, 100%. But my train of thought's been derailed because you were saying stuff that was so interesting that I've lost the train of thought of what I was going to say.
Thank you so much.
And I've eaten too much. That doesn't help.
No, but as I say, I think that's a really interesting, that you can get hung up on, on the latest thing. I must have the new Chase Bliss, audio automatic faders thing, but actually, a decent Boss C2 chorus pedal, it's lovely to have the, it's lovely to have all that stuff and things like that, but actually it's what you're doing with it that really counts. It's the sound that you're making and what you can get. And Josh Smith, not Josh Smith, Joel Scott, from DHS pedals. They had that massive furor about the bad monkey pedal.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and he was sort of doing some viewers' comments because clearly he created an internet furor about it, which is always fun. But he was saying it's not about that. It's about whatever you've got, making making the best use of the things you've got, understanding what you've got, and getting the sounds out of them. Most of that bad monkey will do all manner of things. Oh, I'll tell you one other thing. We did when we were there. We played through a real clon.
Wow.
Like a 10 grand clon. But yes, it's a 10 grand clon, but it does a particular thing. But, Brad, I could do it with my Marshall Bluesbreaker probably, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference, and I'd be, £9,500 better off.
Mate, listen, let me tell you something right now. You've hit the nail on the head with that too, because if you can make your gear work for you, that's better than trying to buy all the new stuff, trying to get it working, and you're still going to be playing like you. The best thing to do, no matter what you do, everyone chasing certain things, and let's go down the SRV path, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Everyone thinks you buy a tube screamer, you buy this, you buy that, buy a fuzz, buy a univibe and a wah pedal, you're going to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. But you're not going to. You're not going to, because Stevie Ray Vaughan was Stevie Ray Vaughan. So, in my opinion, you've got to make it work for you. And what you hear in your ears, if you've got decent pedals, you can certainly make them work. You can make decent pedals work for what you want. I've done gigs where I've made a phase pedal sound like a univibe because I needed to get away with it. And it got me through the gig. People believed that it was a univibe. You know what I mean? It's, what univibe are you using? One guitarist goes to me, what univibe are you using? I said, I'm not. I'm using an MXR phaser.
Phaser,
yeah. And they're like, what? It's like, just had that with a chorus pedal on, just like a delicate amount of chorus behind it, and it gave that enough of an effect live to make it sound like a univibe. So it's
absolutely. Yeah,
I agree. We've all been there. When I had my Blues Junior back in the day, you had to have an overdrive pedal to crank it up, to get that overdrive sound, because you couldn't turn a Blues Junior up to 10. It's just impossible, Brad.
Yeah.
But when I got my Blues Breaker, I got rid of all my pedals, sold the whole. All I've got is a Univibe now and a wah. I got rid of all my pedals because I played my Blues Breaker through either an aux box or my Captor X. So I get the natural overdrive now of the amp cranking through the aux box, which is like an attenuator or a load box as well, and then I can put that through if I want through the effects through my head rush monitor, and that's all I need, bro. That's it. So it took me 20 years, as Brad said, took me 20 years to get there. But that's how it works for me. But I'll always recommend, though. I've had guys that that you hang out with, and that they say, what should you get? And you say, right, look, get a good amp. Get most guys want to play blues, so get a Fender Blues Junior and an overdrive pedal, and you'll be fine. You can put and we've all been there, haven't we? You've got something similar with your PV. Put it on 3, put an overdrive in front of it, Brad, and you're not going to piss your neighbours off, but you're going to get some good crunch.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I've discovered about my PV, having had it only 25 years or so, 20 years, is that if I'm playing a Strat into it, it's got a boost button.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, I've never been able to work out, because it's not wired into anything. You've got to go up to the amp and press the button. Yeah. And I've always thought it was a bit odd, and I never really understood why.
Did you find the thing where you stick the lead, the switch?
Yes. Yeah. But the foot switch, one switch switches the channels, the other switch turns the reverb on and off. Right? It doesn't, and when I took it to be repaired, because the reverb was playing up, I said to the bloke, can you wire it? Can you rewire it so that the switch, instead of turning the reverb on, it does the boost?
Sure.
And he came back and said, you can't. He said, you'd have to take the whole bloody thing apart and redo the whole thing. So what I discovered it actually is that I don't think they designed it like that. What they designed it for is if you're using a single coil, you press the boost button because it fattens the sound up. And then if you're using if you're using a humbucker, you take the boost off because you don't need it so much.
So it's either one or the other. It's either on or off.
Yeah. So if you're playing a Strat, you turn it on and it fattens the sound up quite. And you go, So after 27 years of having it, I finally discovered something.
So it's not meant to be switchable.
No. Yes, the idiot at the back. Yes, no, it's not meant to be switchable. It's meant to be
like the FET switch on a Blues Junior is switchable.
Yes, unlike the P, which it isn't. So you have to go up and press the button manually. Manual switching. The old days, See, remote control is, when I was a kid, remote control was sending up your brother or sister to turn the television over. Really interesting as the whole thing. So it was a fantastic day, and that's kind of what I took away from it was that actually, those things about the differences in sound and all sorts of things from, sounds from 30 years ago or whatever. It really isn't so much difference as you think there are, and there's no criticism implied in this, that the people who are inside it see it as a huge changes, huge differences in sound. Whereas if you're more on the outside, and I am more on the outside than the inside, actually I don't see it in the same way. They're much kind of smaller, and actually getting what you've got and figuring out how to make it work for you, figuring out how it works, so that as I say with my PV, 27 years later, I've discovered something that just improves it. I haven't had to go out and buy a clon. I haven't had to go out and buy 10 grams worth of pedal. It's only a button. Press it, Simon. See what it does.
Awesome.
No money down.
Do you love that, Keith? Do you love that, Keith? A couple of weeks ago, one of my work colleagues found out that I do a YouTube channel, so I went and watched it. One of the few of my friends who don't know that I do this, and he watched it and he goes, "Hey, you and that dude from the UK and that Aussie cat, what you guys do's," he swore, but I won't swear. He said, blah, 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 blah. "You can't fake that shit. You guys are unfakeable."
So we are now the unfakeables.
And so I took that as a compliment on behalf of the team. Yeah. So we are the unfakeables.
Yes. I'm saying we're the unfakeables as a man who's got the title Rock Professor, which is already the irony of that is not lost on me.
Hey, Rock Professor, we've been going live for an hour and a half.
As usual, I've gone on.
No,
People
it's been really
by this.
But I've got a couple of things I've got to shoot out and do because it's still Easter Sunday here. I've got to shoot out soon, guys, and go and eat some more Easter eggs.
Some more Christmas pudding.
Hey,
could I say? Look, I got this. Look, they gave me this. Got that pedal show notebook.
Oh,
pencil, very nice. I'm analog. I like a nice notebook. This is a very nice notebook. Very cool.
Beautiful.
Little something, because it's the little things. They do the little things really well, like Fantastic. That. They just did I hadn't expected to get anything. Did a little, just gave us that, and they're very good about that sort of thing. I suspect it's Catherine.
So, guys, if you're watching, if you're in the UK and you want to pay £5 and sit next to the Rock Professor and go live and join us, you're more than welcome. The same thing, Australia. If you want to pay Brad $10 and sit next to Brad and go live on the Sunday show, you're more than welcome. And if you want to pay me $300 and come and sit on my lap, you're more than welcome.
Wait a minute. So I get a $5, Brad gets $10, and you get $300. I'm looking up the exchange rates now. I think you're making a mint, Mr. Bond. Oh dear.
Oh my lord.
Oh dear.
Seriously, Rock Professor, thanks for the feedback. It was great. Obviously, we couldn't go through and do this last week when we had Brody on
No.
ranking the tracks, because then we would have gone on for about 4 hours.
Are you suggesting, by any chance? When I'm at work, I say to my team, if you want to have a 5-minute conversation with me, you just have to say so. Because if you don't say so, it'll be half an hour.
Oh well, mate. Yeah, we never. Yeah. It's one thing you'll always get when you're on some YouTube channels, Brad, that you like. There's always a good conversation, and that's what it's about, isn't it? It's a little bit of a conversation and sharing of views, sharing of information, and learning to understand that we're all different and that we all have different perspectives and different views on things, and we've got different views about 90s Les Pauls versus 1950s Les Pauls. I'm still straddled between whether or not I'm a Strat man or a Les Paul man.
I gave up that debate with myself years ago, Andrew. I'm both. That's all.
Mate, I'm going to give a nod to a Strat. I'm going to have to give the Strat by a nose. I'm
probably on par with both.
You're 50-50, Brad, aren't you? You must be 50-50.
I'm about 50-50 because there's something about, and even one of my good friends came here not long ago, a couple of months ago, and was trying out. He bought a new fuzz pedal. He brought it over. We're trying it out through my rig. And I'm trying the Strat and I'm playing it and that. And he goes, "I'll try with your Les Paul." So I go get my Les Paul and bring it out, and I plug it in, and I just went, "Oh, that's good. Oh, that's just like putting on those comfy pair of tracky decks at the end of the day. It's like, fits perfectly."
Kicking off a tight pair of shoes, yes.
For me, it's definitely in my head about the music that I want to play. Like, for example, if I'm listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan for a couple of days, or we're listening to a Strat album, for example, remember how we did Bridge of Sighs by Robin Trout, then I'm playing a Strat. But if I'm listening to a Led Zepp album in preparation for, or an Outrider or something like that, where it's going to be humbuckers, Simon, I'm going to be playing, for that week,
Yeah.
I'm the same. Look, I'm the same, Andrew. Like I play differently on a Strat to a Les Paul.
Yep.
I play guitar differently on a Strat, and I play differently on a Les Paul. More rock on a Les Paul, more bluesy on a Strat. That's just how it is.
And all my Strats are tuned half a step down, whereas all my Gibsons are standard.
Well, all my Strats are half a step down. One
Honestly.
of my Les Pauls is standard, and the other one's down. And then my one's in storage. I don't know what they're tuned into at the moment, but yeah.
Well, I can tell you all my guitars are tuned in standard. Not having this nonsense of a half a step down. I mean, really? You've been taken in, you lot.
No.
Let me just say something. When you plug in a Strat that's got that big juicy neck pickup tone and it's half a step down, there's something about it that's undescribable.
Oh, yeah, love it. Oh,
see, this is the guitar that's out, so I must be a Strat man.
Yep.
Well, I've had a Stratman for 35 years, so I think I'm probably a Strat man.
So, Simon, look, I got to agree with you too. Look, a Strat as far as versatility, I'll always recommend, again, from my personal experience, people say, what shall I get? I said, go and get a good classic vibe. Get a classic vibe Squire Strat, and you'll have a lot more versatility with that. Because as you just said before, guys, you throw a couple of pedals in front of a Strat, you're going to be able to crank it up, So, but you'll never get, unless you've got, like Brad, coil tapping. Yeah, it's very hard to get a Les Paul to sound, like a Strat.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
There's something about a Les Paul for me that just I play a certain way that I really like on a Les Paul because it brings that out of me, that sort of that animal, that beast comes out. But a Strat to me, I have to work hard on. I'll just say that.
Cool.
Yeah, I work a lot harder on a Strat than a Les Paul. Yeah.
We're out of here. We're going to cruise.
We're out of here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching, If you're watching this and you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do. Please go to our friends on our communities page there and subscribe to everybody on there, please, and let them know that we sent you there. I get messages. A couple of people have subscribed to Todd over the last couple of weeks, so he sent me a message. Michael also got a couple of subscribers, so thanks, guys, for doing that. If you can do that.
Subscribe to my channel too, all right?
And Brad's. Yeah. Happy Easter.
Shameless self-publicity.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everyone.
I've eaten the rest of it.
Take care. Yeah.
Go
And
on.
we're back to normal next week with Outrider.
Outrider.
Yeah.
Keep on wasting my time.
Take it away, Eric, the orchestra leader.
Bye-bye.
Take care, all. Bye.